98.3 FM.
On something, I beg you give me your love for my letter, and you go get love for my letter, and you go give me your love and no front. Baby, you're the one I'm choosing in the morning, but when nighttime comes, I'm already in position. You any higher than you are now, higher than you are now.
8.3 FM, your number one radio, reaching stars, the sound of Lagos.
All right, it's time for Political Roundtable Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Saheed For. We have two very issues that affect the people. Politics itself is one of international dimension, the other one drop. While putting up the show today to get that session, my mind tells me that we're still going to have this conversation again on the show because it's and a bit of a show because it can't be out, on the show next week. So it's just going to be myself, Joseph Olonsho, Nurudeen Adegbenro, having these conversations. One very extensive, very to just inform you. We also have and that's what we're going to do this evening. So my pleasure.
Is it raining?
Their predictions. It wasn't as if we're in the rainy season, so it's obvious that it was going to. But the Agege people will not forgive me. I don't ask you as Agege this evening.
No, it's not a rally. Does their normal government show stop all this? They've been doing it. Our own is like Allen. It's not good. They park stadium so that they can have all whatever they want to. Even before the local government election, they did that almost twice, blocking a part of the road. It's not good. Even if it's on Sunday, they don't need to be visible. They have Agege Stadium to themselves. There are a lot of places there.
That's one thing I think had been stopped. Again, we've seen that some of these things are coming back into our culture in Lagos. You can use a hall, you can use a stadium, which is not good enough. But let's go straight into the results of conversations at the UN General Assembly, the 80th session. A number of African leaders who spoke at the assembly are saying that look, it's about fairness, equity, and respect for the 54 nations that come to Nigeria. We are the big brother of Africa. The largest population, we've got the biggest economy, we have the resources. We've also paid our dues by contributing every only African country that wants a permanent seat on the Security Council. South Africa, one country that would, if it eventually comes. The first conversation should even be we have Congress, the ADC opposition coalition. I said that look, it's just misplaced priority on the part of Nigeria to be demanding for that seat if it eventually should we be pushing for Nigeria to be on that seat when at least, because again as it stands there are just 5 countries. It's as if the guys who won the Second World War just took the thing, because there are other nations who are also demanding to become the rights to be on that seat. So, and also listen to our vice president who represented President Bola on this particular one. So Joseph is here. Let's see what we can make of that particular conversation, and then we'll come to the big one. We're going to do that very fast because they're thought to consider
one of the components
in the Security Council when I've declared that tomorrow in fact the power generation to shut down and go on strike from tomorrow Monday. Where are the Gencos going to get gas, because power situation? So it's something that we need to focus on. This fight between Dangote and the stakeholders from the regulators upon us. We could just wake up tomorrow and discover that, look, all petrol stations are a major point of conversation. I'm getting complaints that maybe on Facebook, the sound is adding. We are streaming live on our website. You have the opportunity to listen to us live from our website. So I'm sure we'll be fine eventually. And from terrestrial, I'm at the UN General Assembly that demanded reforms that would provide, at least quoting President Ruto. And he says you cannot implement, but we have sound bites to play. The call to the UN General Assembly, for them to at least have a consensus on who should get that seat. I have just what it means to be a member of that Security Council. What are the privileges? Because as 5 members, permanent members of the Security Council, we have 10 other nations actually that are non-permanent members. The big one is you being a member permanent member of the Security Council. So we look at the intrigues, the powers, the privileges behind all of that. But let's quickly listen to President William Ruto, John, a point making, their voices heard on why Africa deserves a seat back.
Africa's role in the future of this organization. However, it's impossible. The 51 member states involved in the founding of South Africa. It is important to point out that the United Nations came into being in conflict, which had been its guiding purpose when it was founded in 1920. Liberia, the Union of South Africa, and Ethiopia. Egypt was to join. That's because before all the other talks and meetings, and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa, were never offered a seat at the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it's expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 20% of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again. Already today, Africa is a catalyst for human potential and development. Fact-based and straightforward seems provocative or unsettling. Perhaps it biased. Maybe you are unaware of the resilience of Africa in my own country, Ghana. Our constitution limits our currency, the Ghana cedi, settled down quickly and embarked on an ambitious program referred to this process of recalibration as our reset agenda.
Equity and representation in the highest organ of global governance. This demand, however, continues to be ignored, deferred, or endlessly debated to the detriment of both Africa and the legitimacy for nations. It is not possible. Africa is made without our understanding, without our perspectives, and without the very credibility of UN peacekeeping forces, and bears the heaviest costs of instability. Yet we, ladies and gentlemen, at the very least, 2 permanent seats with full rights, including the right to veto, and 2 additional non-permanent seats, is not a favor to Africa or to anybody. If the United Nations is to remain relevant in the...
To make 4 points today, to outline how we can... This should take place as countries that host minerals must benefit. First point, the United Nations will recover its relevance only when it reflects 20 million people. Absent from the tables why decisions about our pay were taken. Today we are sobering up a stabilizing pause for reform that restores credibility to regional and the resolution's efficiency and effectiveness in the peace institution. May speak with one voice.
The sound of Lagos.
All right, we've listened to the voice of Shetima. All making points to the 54 nations of Africa. These are 2 seats, permanent member, and the privileges and powers are any decision of the assembly. And as a permanent member, you can't cast a no vote or veto any substantive resolution effectively preventing it from being adopted. At that time, so we probably did not even understand what about the members in the world agreed to something powerful. It is to be a post that person who can decide the fate of others, So there's this call, like, look, the world has grown beyond in their own hands. This is the time to expand it. And Africa is saying that, look, really, because at the end of the day, the United Nations comes back to what the Gaza. Once the resolution becomes just a mere piece. So issue here is that, look, back home, the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, is telling President Tinubu that, look, that if it must even come here, it should not be Nigeria corner, in Borno State, Kwara, so, and they're saying that, look, how do you want to, because again, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be about global peace and security. So, Ethiopia has always been there, and it's understandable why, even before the League of Nations, they were there during the creation of the UN, they were there colonialism.
Yes.
So it was almost impossible, really. Independence came to Africa, and then we started joining. Yes. So you're surprised that some of these countries have been there. But let's look at the countries that are now demanding. Nigeria stands a chance if it eventually happens for Africa. If, President Ruto was demanding for...
Okay, let me give you one. Okay. So that is the angle that he's talking about. But if you look at it, I think we have a very good chance. No matter the case may be, upon our problems and we marshal a lot of problems. And in Africa... Also, we are not doing badly upon home, but we still go out and give food to people outside. That the case may be, the way they see us outside. It's about countries in Africa are also having their own challenges too. Okay. But we look at the number with the kind of, because we are markets. because you are a major market. Apart from our pop, in all these countries that are permanent members, there is none of them Nigerians did not have deposit of people with brain with.
Because again, it boils down to our bargaining power will see us, number one. Then how does these 5 permanent members also relate with us? Well, the U.S. Embassy in Ghana announced that, look, they've now again approved that Ghana month single entry. So again,
China also opened his own border for us.
I'm just saying that leader of France maybe looks a bit good. Russia at that level. But in terms of our population, of course, there's no disputing that we are the largest, most populous African nation. He's also talked about the need for debt relief. And he also talked about AI, saying it should now become
and create environment
and create environment for those talents to build this thing. But South Africa, Ethiopia, do you think that we could just get it if it comes to Africa?
Well, based on very, very direct, try very well. But if it is someone
it was well delivered, I must say, very articulate and well delivered. Yeah.
If it's someone that wrote that script for him, they could.
Does it matter who wrote the script?
They should quickly pay him. In psychology, what we call you resolve problem of the United Nations. Maintaining peace and security.
Yes.
Peace and security.
Stability, yes.
Have we within ourselves? Have we be able to? Because you need
to guarantee peace and security at home.
I need to see humanitarian aid. A lot of states in Nigeria, they say there is a place they have small ID area. I say, please, I want you to send to Canada. A lot of Nigeria are doing very great.
So the summary of it is, you think we deserve it?
To come and put our house in order, so that those people will now call us and say they allow us, if they are conducting normal election to that very place. I think we can rig ourselves into that.
But on a more serious note, before we come to the real issue for today, I just have to bring this in circulations and our global standing as a country. At the end of the 4 countries in Africa, that's the largest block.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, presentation. Why do you think that beyond all of the issues in Africa, we have such low rate?
Even the 54 countries we are talking about, how many of them are truly independent? I want you to develop. But they have a measure they will be able to capitalizing on, and that is one of the reasons why you see that if it is by democracy, United Nations supposed to be worshiping Africa, because the block from there is this. One of the things there is that we are not still independent enough. A president, a prime minister that have used over 30 years, 40 years, that still want to die the key system of government, but you see a government
tight leaders who want to live there for life.
Want to make sure that they sit there of human rights. Look, one of the things that makes United Nations to have that an environment, a continent, Africa, you see where that there is no opposition. In fact, you see the one, it's only in Africa, you see 2 days to election. And the human rights issues too. Human rights abuse is so prevalent in Africa. And that's why you see that what they are doing in their various countries. Look at Trump, no matter the name we want to call him in Africa.
Move to the second issue. It's about leadership, or you think there are other issues why we are everything in Africa really? In fact, people will say the future of the world is Africa. If you look at the resources, if you look at the human, because again, if you look at the nation, the future is Africa.
Yes.
But we've always had resources. But what do we have to show?
This mindset. Africa, milk your gate.
Upon that developed Africa, and there are slave trade where they came in. Pay us for what you did to Africa. You basically took our resources to develop your own country. Don't you think that, look,
say this time for us to build? I was reading one story in Japan in 1930. They said the Japan government, then they sit down and say, okay, how many? If you pass an innocent vehicle,
for where?
If it is not to the other, then the second one, which is very at Yanisolo. A police just accosted me, Lhasa police, which I know is a Lhasa or Ilasa. He said, why are you asking me that kind of question? And before you know, I thought, oh God, I didn't ask any. That means he's with a gun. And he was telling me, because of the question you are asking now, either uniform to protect life and property. Not only that, we know that there are a lot of state agents, maybe want to disturb public peace. And even if a court of competent jurisdiction make a pronouncement and say, okay, this person you arrested, that is only under that judgment, they will not come up with any resolution. They just decide on their own. Are the people not looking at some of all those issues?
Well, that look beyond the politics of the UN members of the Security Council have blocked all of those attempts. Even call for it. You earn it, like Joseph was saying. I remembered I had one only single disagreement when power was to host the event in 1977. Aoolo was against it because it's stay back home, develop your own country, do the hard work that world events. We are trying to host the World Cup, whereas there are serious issues.
Even ordinary league, be a member of the permanence, and you want Africa. Look, did you
the level of corruption we have here?
And they know and they see it, and they are using it to do business in their own country. Then another one again is this. Do you know the corruption reports and corruption index?
They have, and the dossier they have on most of these leaders.
A lot of countries that with their resources, with their
focus on our domestic issues.
Focus.
It's enough to just be a member.
You don't give you because you are not different. The only thing they have their own challenges too, and this is a position themselves a little bit better.
So you think they stand a better internal issues here?
In fact, the way they deal, you remember that the consumer went to jail. Okay. So these are the things that these people normally look at. And Ethiopia is a kind of country of corruption. They are still even better than Africa, South Africa.
So you think out of these nations,
they position themselves.
Let's see where Africa will get
it. Quickly is one thing that the vice president, I don't know why he will go to that place.
Yeah, the president has to be there. Okay. Yes.
No, why she quoted about 200? These are just estimates.
Yes.
We must be serious.
Six. Yes.
And you have a lot.
I was supposed to be 10 years.
Yes.
So we should have.
In criminology, they will say anything you cannot measure, you cannot control it.
Yes.
So even this our population thing. Yes.
2006 that you talk about.
Yes.
I know how the census
Interestingly, I was a supervisor in 2006 for that census. Tell ourselves.
Oh my God!
It was ridiculous to say the least. So let's just move on. Tell people.
Okay.
Well, how we counted them. This is not to send. TUC have also issued a statement. The oil and gas workers
it's a big word.
Are ready to speak.
Yeah, last week.
So it keeps coming up again. Now, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria has instructed its members nationwide to withdraw issued after an emergency National Executive Council meeting on Saturday, of violating Nigeria's labor laws, the Constitution and International Labor Organization's conventions by dismissing workers for joining the association, an affront to all workers in Nigeria. To press its demands, Pᴜӷᴜ directed members in few locations to down tools from Sunday and ordered a total nationwide shutdown across locations to withdraw services effective 6:00 hours on Sunday, 28 September 2025, and commence across all offices, companies, institutions, and agencies to withdraw their services effective Monday, the 29th of September 2025. No intervention whatsoever will be entertained across few locations except where the safety of personnel and this particular clash between Dangote Refinery and Pᴜӷᴜ is coming as a reunion. So it's almost like Dangote telling the workers, do you want to do the job or you want to be a union member? We will not tell you not to be a union member. For long, sure is that, look, we could have total blackout tomorrow. Because again, Nigerians may face nationwide following directives from the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Workers from Pᴜӷᴜ. The Executive Secretary revealed that gas suppliers had issued notices to halt supply to thermal power stations in line with Pᴜӷᴜ's strike resolution. And this is just plans following directives from Pᴜӷᴜ, the Nigerian gas infrastructure, for electricity and security matter, and the government has to quickly intervene. I have something very important. It's about 20 minutes. And it's important, and it's $20 billion refined. It's been from one battle to another battle, from when he had made the attempt, for example, to buy the Port Harcourt. The refineries will work, don't sell. They undervalued it. To when he eventually decided to build his refinery, owners, that man. When you talk about the Nigerian oil sector, the thing they ran down the country's refineries. But energy security, it should not be in the hands of one. The argument is that, look, how can you decide to run refineries? What I said, we have no such plans. What we are just saying is that, look, we refine our products. We also want to be able to watch you. Very interesting interview, about 20 minutes, between Kelvin, the president or the chairman of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Petran, Dr. Billy Gillis Harry, you know, it was very interesting. Just take your time. If you have pen and paper, pick points from this argument from, you know, Kelvin Emmanuel, who is an oil and gas expert and a Nigerian energy analyst. Conversation. So we also have the opportunity to listen, take some water, and then when we come back, we'll look at all of these sides before we open up interesting conversation, and we will be right back.
This is in the studios to look at the issues, and from Port Harcourt to have Billy Gillis Harry, the president. Very much, gentlemen. Let me start from here in the studio with Kelvin. Kelvin, Pᴜӷᴜᴜn's statement, lawlessness, regards, you know, does not have regards to.
It was shocking when I saw the statements credited to Pᴜӷᴜᴜn. And then there's a Trade Disputes Act that governs and guides the operations of trade unions in Nigeria. If you act, it says that energy supply constitutes essential services. And in matters of essential services, the federal government, if there's going to be a disruption of energy services without recourse to a 15-day notice that should be given by any striking workers for picketing. If you look at the same Trade Unions Act, sections 4, the Minister of Labour is supposed to get a notice within 7 days. And if she's unable to resolve, if the minister is unable days of taking on that role, if they fail to resolve it at the IAP, it's supposed to be referred to the National Industrial Court to actually issue another 7-day warning notice before it strikes. So the question I have is, when Nupeng, for example, went and took trucks to block the refinery that NNPC failed to do for 30 years, did they follow this process? No. Are they threatening? Any threat to essential services like energy supply and security is a threat to Nigeria's national security.
Of petroleum retail outlets is. Thank you for joining energy security. Why would they crude oil and gas?
Your question is, why has Nupeng and Pᴜӷᴜᴜn taken laws into their hands? Listen to your guests also, and which means every one of us is not above the law. Similar way, waiting for the same action. In Petron, we have asked for the government's intervention in all of this. The position is simple. The plans that are made by one particular business called Dangote Petroleum and Petrochemical Refinery has decided to get into a forward integrated business. That indication we can see the events playing out all more clearly. They are acting in civil union. I believe that what my colleague there has reeled out clearly states the law. The law. The law simply says that there's going to be protection for workers, and if the unions have been here to answer for themselves. But from our point of view, Pᴜӷᴜᴜn entering into this scene is a brand new issue, because there was nothing difficult for also Dangote Refinery to have followed locking them out as the news has portrayed, and, you know, get the air of
Pᴜӷᴜᴜn is reacting to the development in Dangote's refinery, a private entity which has decided to unionism is supposed, you know, to be, carried out, when we know, Kelvin, that union members of Pᴜӷᴜᴜn and it's interesting, because if you go back in time, you see NPC because of reorganization of the entity. So are we going to say that Bayo is paying workers at NNPC low wages because he came in and said we need to restructure the human resources of NNPC to be able to achieve the KPIs that the president has set for him? Dangote is reorganizing the organization. It's his company, $1 billion. He still owes $3.8 billion. It's a private business. He has the right to hire and fire, and he has followed the Trade Union Act, Sections 9, and the freedom of joining unions. His position has always been consistent. Pᴜӷᴜᴜn and Nupeng cannot compel the member to join their union. If they say they don't want to join their union, it's to a new era of refining. So this talk about forward integration, Dangote is going into distribution, as it emits less carbon, right? It's efficient to transport. It saves about 40% of transportation costs because it uses compressed natural gas. Each of those, I don't understand the argument of Penghasen, and it's completely out of place. It's completely out of place for Penghasen to order for its members $2.2 billion in export earnings for Nigeria, and has helped Nigeria to improve its balance in the last 1 year. In the last 1 year, to test for gasoline testing standards to ensure.
What are the likely fallouts of the directives of Penghasen on the entire energy sector, particularly if you underscore it or you try to reconcile it with the entire
liters of PMS on a daily basis, which is higher than Nigeria's actual daily consumption, because I don't believe it produces about 26 million liters of diesel. It does about 14 million liters of Jet A1. In the last 3 weeks, Dangote, for the first time in the history of Nigeria as a country today. So if you stop the supply of crude that he buys, he pays a premium of $3.50, getting crude allocation in Naira. Okay? He pays a premium to buy Nigerian crude because the operators give the crude to third-party traders to sell to him. So if you stop the supply of crude to Nigeria, for which he spends $9 million every month for shipping costs alone, and the cost of payments to MP and IMASA, to import crude into Nigeria, polypropylene crystals, urea, he uses that same FX, most of it, to buy crude back to Nigeria. It's an anomaly that after 57 years, what the refined petroleum products, because there's been a constituted, that is the case of, if they tell you Nigeria and you understand it the first time, they didn't explain it well to you. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't national security.
Okay, let's go back to Port Harcourt now. You were going to the squandernemia. But
I think you need to be, I do know that Arise is a first-class news media that's developing across the globe. And I think it's very important that Arise uses, reputation.
Harry, you have the platform,
I'm going to talk, but I just need us to be able to understand exactly where we're going. Because it's not enough to speak a lot of English. It will be very good to get facts that will be able to help us. And Penghasen have capacity, knowledge, and ability to speak for themselves. And so, in my capacity as national president of Petron, I will. But from our perspective, because we are the last mile in the industry, the market woman, to you, the journalists, realistic advice he has given to industry players. I also want to appreciate Rep. Ogochinri, who has also called for valuable decisions we're having. Should not be one of I say, she say, act, not act. We have rules in this business. And if you are only, it will be difficult for you to understand exactly the reality. The reality here is that there is an attempt by a corporate organization to that will be so much power consolidated in the hand of one company that will now even answer to the question of energy security. And energy is a major issue, even in times of war.
Mr. Gilly Harris, that's
I'm not addressing you, Mr. Kelvin. Mr. Kelvin, I'm not addressing you. You in the downstream. But you are speaking on behalf of. Let us get
Mr. Gilly Harris, you were the same person. You were the same person that said that.
I'm not addressing you, please.
That Port Harcourt refinery was working and was producing. Port Harcourt refinery, NNPC spent $1.45 billion of Nigeria's hard-earned money and wasted the money. Talking about laws.
Excuse me,
any law that you do not have. It's not law that should be obeyed by the players in the industry, because the government is the one that makes the law. It's not Petron that makes the law. It's not Moman that makes the law. It's not Dapman that makes the law. It's not Lupeng that makes the law. It's the industry.
All right, gentlemen, I think
let me come in here. Please,
sorry, exchange ideas so that those in authority and the crude oil to down, and sometimes we'll have a yo-yo pricing situation. Today is up, today is down because of the.
Please tell your guests in the studio to be disciplined.
Harry,
there is no time to. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has decided not to sell crude oil to any positions. They're empirical and we have values. No positive response to that. The government has never at any time in the last few days said, to my knowledge, that crude oil is no longer going to be sold. So, but getting relative to Dangote refineries. And we want to do that with a simple collaborative method of stakeholders working with Dangote. We are willing to work with Dangote to ensure that he's successful.
All right, thank you very much, Gilly Harris, there for the coming of Yar'Adua administration and the rest. But shortly after that discussion,
okay, very good question you asked. And quickly, in two refineries off because President Obasanjo had, invited Shell to come back that built the refinery that has an installed capacity of 110,000 barrels by Nigerian grade crude. Okay, it was sold to Chinese National Petroleum. So CNPC left. They went and they built a refinery in Niger Republic, close to wanted to do in Nigeria. Late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, God bless his soul. Now they've spent $18 billion in maintenance of those refineries, and none of them are working. They're under lock and key. Mr. President, right, was then blending naphtha condensates with C5 resins. A pipeline that was in rehabilitating a jetty in Okrika. They cannot account for $2.9 billion that was borrowed through a forward sale agreement. In the intervening period, $96.8 billion in loans that they claim was, and investigate. What happened to these monies? These monies are huge monies. You have a budget of 54 trillion.
Mainland 98. Mainland.
Your indulgence, everyone out there that look, so that we understand all of the perspectives. Kelvin Emmanuel is someone well known to us. He understands his data, he understands the oil and gas sector, and so tough he was really when he took on Dr. Billy Gillis-Ari, who basically said, okay, the interview that was held yesterday, and really of this industrial action goes on by Nupeng out in the country, and like Kelvin put it, this is looking like and energy issues in the oil and gas sector. Joseph Russian refined to the Blue Star Consortium. In fact, he also mentioned that the Kaduna refinery, around 10,000 barrels per day capacity. The Chinese went and built their refinery somewhere. But within that period till now, Port refinery was working. Remember, we said it at that time. For saying this was to score cheap politics. Member of the fourth estate of the realm would do a job. Diligent. There was someone who was also arrested. Again, there were a lot of people who had said that, look. So there was a lot of question, but get the loan.
In fact, that one is not the only thing, no.
When the man said, oh, a friend told me, are you sure about this? Do you want to do this? Build a refinery somewhere, or just join the people who are importing things to the $1 billion. And it was said that Lou finds a ground, putting billions of naira. Do you know that these unions had staff? And there will be several allegations of ostentatious lifestyle. You had a private businessman. Think about whatever, say whatever you want. A single train refinery in the world.
Yes.
That's supposed to have a 27.something% because the promise they made to me that they did not fulfill.
Yes, they're going to give me
small shop callers and say people just talk and it's sure that some of them say this money is going to come in. It's part of my plan. But they were hoping that the foreign lenders, when refinery came up, it started with diesel, 1,000, around 1,500. Yes. I'd written to the president to say he was spoiling business for them.
Yes.
That they will be the person selling.
You did not build your own refinery. You build somebody built it
1,000.
Yes.
In fact, maybe today we would have been buying at 1,500.
Yes, now.
But now at the point of selling, I'm going through this so that people understand what we are dealing with. At the point, no, there is not of quality. The quality is not good. That the sulfur content, blah blah blah. Until that, I've taken you to my lab, and this is help me tell them anywhere.
What are they using to test all the one?
If a regulator that is supposed to rate on the crude in naira, that one went on, and so the maths. And then the issue of union
just pay. I'll come and deliver it to you.
So we can go on and on and on.
Crude to Dangote
in naira.
They have some
blame a lot of this amount of
tell us the ship that has
been able to develop to a point where they can. You now have a situation where the unions have started within the system.
They are critical stakeholders.
So are we a genuine fight here? Again, because what they are saying is that look, Kelvin is saying that look, there are other to down to punish the entire country because when the issues, or do you think that look, as we speak, the cabals are after on this issue?
Blackout, fuel queue, all
which will happen tomorrow.
Go to other NTA or Radio Nigeria and say, okay, fellow Nigeria, let me talk to Nigeria and give us that hope.
Assurance that tomorrow they'll
scrap them. Just okay, corruption going on.
No. One thing there is
what you want.
But one thing there is this: as much as we want to lambast Nupeng for that on the issue of unionism, is for and Nupeng to force or Dangote refineries management also to expunge.
I know in a private entity.
Yes, you can decide.
The organization might mean that you.
So we understand all these routes.
Wait, I'll get you. I'll give you time to talk. We have to. The truck drivers must join us. Why have because a lot about 80%.
Nupeng, if they don't get A1 aside the work now, they are Nigerians. Agreed. But one thing there is this: I believe that if Dangote and Nupeng did not have members, what they just have to do, right, to that some certain things were done. But for the fact that this particular one is this.
Okay. What warning do you want to give to Dangote?
The one you want to do with them.
If you think
how union they want to join union, the issue of the labor law.
Yeah.
This is why we want Dangote also. That is why we want Dangote also to cross.
You know this is our energy now for private business.
We know. But what we want to say is that no, but with the one thing because we're not the one paying
allow them to go.
No.
Let me ask you this very question. Private universities.
Yes.
Are their workers members of any union? What do you think that is?
Because they are managed. Talking about that, if you want to lay them off, on this part, we are reorganizing.
You should tell Nupeng.
No, they should tell Nigerians.
Yes.
We all agree that it's under that. So that they will not think that labor. Because one thing, asking some members to go. This is not the.
So why is Dangote refinery different? We need to open the phone lines here.
For me, I think the Nupeng and delivering Nigeria for that kind of crew, that kind of stress.
Yeah.
As in almost the whole world was fighting Russian government.
Yeah.
Putin was there to ensure that his people.
No, not so far. Okay. Hello, good evening.
Nigeria message have for us.
Hope you get it.
I don't want to talk anything about was telling where they went.
Yes.
They should forgive you debt. When the money you borrow money and share. And you said it among 8 million people. Up to now, I've not seen one person. Have you seen anybody?
His name is not.
And I still share it to non-existent people.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Kambilina.
Thank you, my dear. My name is Prince YS, calling you from that body. I want to appeal according to how you want it to be done. Let them go. It's billion, dollar, not to. What is it? The Dangote, the Dangote tomato. So for me, they should allow Dangote to be. They can go and we stand there. Another day they tell a dear lie. That's why my people they are enemy to this country. Why? Please, please.
Prince, why?
Agree that he also.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, my brother. God bless you.
Yeah, good evening.
Thank you. This is Madam Bello. I called.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, the EFCC you are talking about, because we talked right from the what is his name? The first EFCC chairman, apart from the all of their chairman has been indicted corrupt than these people we are talking about. There's nothing like that in Nigeria.
We have no facts to that. Hello, good evening.
Hello, I think in Nupeng they're under SPUCC.
Yes.
What they're trying to do is to call off tomorrow, like any no problem.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
I'm calling from Ogun State.
Okay.
First time caller.
You're welcome. Okay. Welcome to the family. Where in Ogun State?
I want to talk about asking for in the UN. I want to say that.
Mr. David, can you shift your position a bit? We're struggling to hear you.
Okay. I said, it's the people that are asking for.
Hello,
good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah.
Your name and Joshua. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, my Radio Garden.
Radio Garden. Yeah, I've seen a lot of complaints from our Facebook page.
I understand that you have a leadership problem from Nigeria. Nigeria is going to be one of the best countries to live on. I'm telling you. The problem is, you understand me? Just imagine if you promise like that and you don't fulfill it, what will happen to... Hello.
Please turn down the volume of your radio set.
Hello, sir.
Yes, good evening. Good evening.
Yes. I'm calling from command.
Okay, Mr. Bumi, please go on.
If you don't have a pass to call them that they are corrupt, is there any court of law that also saying that the responsibility is from the government side? If they are... So that's not... All this Dangote refinery, all this Dangote... Yes, now, that will not just take side on him alone now.
Because when it turns the battle back to Nigeria, have a wonderful Sunday evening.
Good evening.
Looking from the point of the study, these people now they are doing with government corporation. My own belief, all these Japan, if they allow these people to join the Pacific, they knew those that they are using NG truck.
That he brought in.
If somebody said Dangote is giving us December gift, let that person go and do this super. You see, association in Nigeria has said it. Each week in my area here. Most especially, there's when they call it Alata.
Union.
I've told them to, as are we talking about? See, Nupek and Pᴜʟɪᴛ does not have any right to dictate to Dangote. As far as I'm concerned, it's a very long time now. What are they doing? So what are we talking about? I'm telling you.
All right.
Maybe 2 years, 3 years. Today, what is happening in this country? What's the name of my Yoruba?
I don't know. I think the lines are just. The network is really active on 09136000411. I think maybe because of the rain.
This is Olayola from the guy.
Yes, Mr. Olayola.
This is what they call bureaucracy. We call it being paid. Any our bureaucracy be light. So even a person that just for what they call energy crisis in Nigeria today, because of that, we say that it's indigenous. And the someone bringing the money to it, and some people are also setting it. These are the proven. If the government wants to succeed in any sector, let me have a light bureaucracy. Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Peter. My dog is workers. Does not in this case, when Dangote and other government agencies like Pᴜʟɪᴛ, Nupeng and others, when they fight, it is we Nigerians. It's a monopoly and it's time to probably monopolize the petroleum.
How do we enjoy how do we enjoy that kind of situation?
I'm sure they want to block Dangote's crop. And they want to, clear them. You understand? So,
hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
From Orílẹ̀ Agége. Okay, please go on, sir.
Yeah. I'm praying to also, for just for a month. And then the secret will open. Do we have the president, the minister? Are people talking as if in short, no, I can tell you that God will see us.
No, well,
God will save Nigeria, not God will bless it.
Mr. Atunde, is that your line is acting up? Just send a message. All right, sir. Mr. Badmus, go on.
And settle all this
matter once and for all.
Honestly, from Supreme Court to settle all this thing up. Is it by force to join union? So if they join union, it's not by force. So I think we need to go into the line in respect of a debt waiver from well, we achieved that, but between vandalize the whole opportunity. He left, Obasanjo left about to 55 billion within the 575. And Okojo was telling.
Okay, all right. A lot of thank you for the call, Mr. Badmus from Fagwa. Take this last call and then, yeah, Mr. Kenny, please. Yes.
It is not compulsory to join union. These people cannot force Dangote staff to join union. Why can't Asu and Conway force this price? The biggest investors are the ones that have failed Australian academics there by Pengata and Nupeng. And that's why they decide the production to just decide that they are not going to move forward. I think now we have produced a lot of roughly 4,000 capacity sending buses. They need
a lot of messages to deal with, and I think we just have about Jonah Ijoki's the rains have allowed South Africa good about them. On Dangote, please, first also, should that the finance are working. I believe we have seen our problems in its physical form now. While is greeting us from Ikeja Cantonment, from the Jami Olalekon is saying, why all Africa at USM thumbs up to us. We have Olatunde Michael Ibrahim saying, the VP Kashim Shettima is from Borno, a state where thousands of people have lost their lives. So the body advocating for a country for Hamas under the guise of two-state solution in the Middle East. We are over there. My dear wise man, it's okay. So I just read it in one of our one in court country. Okay, Sunday Noah is saying Nigeria is pretty lacks the required standards owing to insecurity, political issue, human rights abuse, corruption, and leadership problems. That's Ali Michael Ibrahim is saying we are tired of TUC, NLC. I beg. We job honestly. I don't like how some Nigerians are just trying to frustrate Dangote refinery. What they should focus on is how to make. Bernardo is saying the Petron guy should go and sleep. Good evening to everyone in the studio. Please, in the market, we know very well that they are working or introduce an open market to okay, Chukwu Kalu is saying corruption can keep Kashim Shettima himself said fix your garden and it will be attractive for butterflies. Means when elephants fire, the grass suffers. Country will no get light. Still once experience blackout. Now wow. Particularly the Vice President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, for his role at the UN General Assembly. However, African leaders are not asking too much. Rather, their attentions are you expecting from Dangote? Okay. All right, that's the much that we can take on the show. Don't get her.
I don't get that. How are you, sir? Yeah.
At this time, don't go. We need to leave the studio.
So, I have to bring out this one. So, the topic is this: how does crying mother matter when it comes to other people's marriage?
Okay. Oh, all right. So we'll look for who is crying and the person that is bereaved.